So, Call of Duty, guys, one of my favorite franchises of all time, a game and a series, really, that has captivated my imagination and a game in which I just absolutely love covering on the YouTube channel. I mean, when I always talk about the big three, guys, in my book, right? Everyone has their favorite games. My big three are Call of Duty, Gears of War, and StarCraft. I absolutely love those three games, and it's kind of like what I grew up with, I guess you could say. You know, back in I really got into Call of Duty in COD 4, got into the Gears of War, was the first game I ever had or played, came with my Xbox 360, and then StarCraft was the first PC game I really started ever playing. And so when we talk about Call of Duty, talk about a series that has absolutely, no matter what they've done, even though the community has been torn multiple times in different ways, whether we're talking, going from boots on the ground to the jetpack era, back to boots on the ground, you lose people, you gain people. The Call of Duty community, though, is a group of people that just will buy the new Call of Duty every year, regardless of what it is. And that's just the brand value that is Call of Duty. Well, what happened to Call of Duty, guys? Because Call of Duty went through some and has over the years, and I don't think it's fully recovered at this point yet, as to what happened throughout the course of its history. And so I'm going to go back to really when I started with Call of Duty. I didn't start with Call of Duty 2. I remember when those games were out. Call of Duty, I think it was called the Big Red 1. There was a number of different Call of Duty games that were out. I just never played those ones. I started, guys, with Medal of Honor, Rising Sun on the original Xbox. I got that, as well as Halo 1 and Halo 2. And, a number of other games that I was playing at that time. But Medal of Honor Rising Sun was the first-person shooter game I ever played, and that was on the original Xbox. Call of Duty was not the game that my parents got me. It was Medal of Honor. And so I started there, but really when I came into the Call of Duty scene was in COD 4. And I really didn't get into the multiplayer side of it until, about a year or so afterwards. Call of Duty Modern Warfare, or Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare, was absolutely groundbreaking to me. It was the idea of this, the story mode, which is what captivated me, was unbelievable. I absolutely loved the story of Call of Duty, and it just, ever since COD 4, I've been hooked on Call of Duty ever since. Now, there's been years where I didn't like, the Call of Duty title. That's happened a number of years, right? But I could always go back to those older titles and play those ones really, years and years later. So I started with COD 4, and then I really got into Call of Duty, multiplayer when Modern Warfare 2 came out. And that was when I got into Modern Warfare 2 and COD 4's multiplayer areas, right? I got it, really just started playing the multiplayer modes. And then, of course, it just kind of went from there, right? It was Modern Warfare 2, and then from then on out, Black Ops 2 was kind of the peak for me as far as the Call of Duty franchise is concerned. And then we were off. And it was unbelievable. An unbelievable, probably 6 years of COD, man, for me at least. It was just unbelievable. Well, here's what happened, guys. We had an incredible run. When you think of all of the Call of Duty games that came out since COD 4, right? We had a run where it was, COD 4, Modern Warfare 2, Modern Warfare 3, Black Ops 1, Black Ops 2. You're talking Call of Duty Ghosts. And I might even be missing one. World at War. All of these games, all these CODs that came out were great. I mean, for what they were, right? I know a lot of people had problems with Ghosts. Lots of people had different problems with MW3. It always felt that whenever a new game came out, a new COD came out, we would always end up going back to Modern Warfare 2, to Black Ops 2, to COD 4 or Black Ops 1. And I'm not saying that that was a bad thing, because we just enjoyed those games so much and we wanted it to go back to kind of like that feeling once again. And this is where I remember vividly the community saying we want something different, something that we really, something we just need change. We're getting the same thing over and over again. It feels like Call of Duty Ghosts was not it. We were all excited about that. We were excited about, MW3. We were excited about these games. But now It's just not all that. And so what did Activision do? They listened to the community. They did listen to what we wanted, which was something different, and they went different, all right, with Call of Duty Advanced Warfare. And here's what I'm going to say about Advanced Warfare, guys. And I've said this on multiple occasions on the YouTube channel, that Advanced Warfare, I liked it as a different type of Call of Duty. I really did. I enjoyed it for what it was. A game in which really was very different. But they kind of just, it wasn't just unrealistic. It was like very unrealistic. It was like, no, it's not just jetpacks so you jump a couple feet in the air. No, this is jetpacks like you're jumping 20 feet in the air. And they went all out on that. And I was down with that. We were all very excited. I remember the community was very excited for Advanced Warfare because it was like, this is different. This is different than Modern Warfare 2, Black Ops 2, which were the two main titles that people really loved, that people would keep going back to because the other boots on the ground games weren't there. Anyways, Advanced Warfare comes out. We're all really excited about it. And I remember I was a member of a Call of Duty team called Major Militia. And we essentially we made a bunch of different montages on Call of Duty Advanced Warfare and team tages and such, where we would have multiple clips that we would hit, usually with sniper rifles, and trick shots and things of that nature. And it was awesome. It was so much fun, at least at first, right? And we were really one of those teams that was really taking, really building content around Advanced Warfare. And I absolutely love that. And I'll never forget that. And I loved it. Now, after a few months, Advanced Warfare kind of, it kind of got stale, right? It just kind of got stale after a while. And so we ended up going back to the other games. I don't blame Activision whatsoever for making Advanced Warfare. I think it was a great, I think it should have been a trial game almost. Like a game in which it's like, hey guys, this is something new. Something different. What do you guys think about it? And then we would all give our feedback. It's like, oh, you know what? We like it, but let's go back to boots on the ground. And that's what everyone was saying. But what Activision did was they had greenlit, us not knowing, 3 titles. It wasn't just Advanced Warfare. It was Black Ops 3 and Infinite Warfare. I believe, guys, to this day, and I know some people really liked Black Ops 3, but I firmly believe that the change in Call of Duty came with Black Ops 3, not Advanced Warfare, because Advanced Warfare was different. It was kind of just like, we all thought that, hey, this is different. We like this. This is the first of its kind with Call of Duty. But when you had Black Ops 3, and then you had Infinite Warfare especially, those were the dark ages of COD, in my opinion. Those 2 titles were the dark ages, where it was just, even though Advanced Warfare was great, and I loved playing it for a while, it was just, I don't know, like one of those, it was a game in which, it was cool for a little while, but it just didn't feel like Call of Duty. It felt like Titanfall meets Halo. And you don't really want that. You want a Call of Duty that feels like Call of Duty. And Black Ops 3, I think, could have been one of the best CODs if it didn't have jetpacks. I think it could have been really, really great. I enjoyed it. Or I should say, I would have enjoyed it if it was boots on the ground. I did not like it whatsoever in Infinite Warfare. I liked a little more, actually, than Black Ops 3, but it still was not it for me. Advanced Warfare was the jetpack game, in my opinion. That was okay. It was decent, and the story was okay as well. And it knew what it was, because at the end of the Advanced Warfare campaign, it wasn't like a cliffhanger, like, oh, there's going to be a sequel. It was its own game, and I was cool with that. The Dark Ages happened though, and that was a time in Call of Duty's history, guys, where Call of Duty went through a transition from boots on the ground to fully futuristic jetpacks, the jetpack era. 3 games, 2 of which I believe went into the Dark Ages, and 1 was just a part of Call of Duty history. It's all Call of Duty history, but Advanced Warfare, I think, to me, was the one that I accepted. Then we got World War II, which was great, going back to the roots of Call of Duty. I think a lot of people were excited about that, even though there was issues with Call of Duty, whether it was the multiplayer or whatever the case might have been. It was a step in the right direction, right? I think people were like, yeah, this is the step in the right direction. I think Activision just made the mistake of not doing just one Jetpack Call of Duty, but doing green lighting 3 of them, I think was the real issue with what Activision did. But nonetheless, maybe in the future, we'll look back and we'll say, hey, like, Activision really knew what they were doing. They just kept making titles every year, and they, it was a 3-year cycle. Now it's going to be a 2-year cycle, and they just keep on pumping out the titles and getting, X amounts of dollars for Call of Duty, and maybe it'll be just distant history eventually. But nonetheless, right now, where we are right now, I think that Call of Duty's fully back, and I've already said this, but we had World War II come out. Then you had Black Ops 4, which I think was even further a game in the right direction. I loved Black Ops 4. Loved Black Ops 4. That was my favorite title since Black Ops 2, guys. It's been that long. Black Ops 2 was the last title that I really, really was just all in on. Now, Black Ops 4, to this point, Black Ops 2 is number 1 on my list. Modern Warfare 2 is number 2. And then Black Ops 4 and Modern Warfare, the most recent Call of Duty, are kind of tied at the 3rd place mark. They're about the same for me. I really enjoyed Black Ops 4, and I like Modern Warfare. I just think that there's things with Modern Warfare that are issues, which are issues with all of them. But Call of Duty at this point is 100% back. And there is absolutely no debate about it, guys. We had World War II, which was a step in the right direction after the Dark Ages. Then you got Black Ops 4, which I thought was great, except for no campaign. Had no campaign, which is a real bummer to me. And then, of course, Modern Warfare, which had the best campaign of any Call of Duty that I've ever played. Unbelievable campaign, and the multiplayer was a lot of fun too. I think Black Ops 4's campaign is Black Ops 4's multiplayer is a little bit better than Modern Warfare's. That's just my opinion, though. I loved Black Ops 4. Modern Warfare is a great campaign. I think the multiplayer is also good, but it's steps in the right direction, guys, and they're fun titles to play. I'm even starting to see the trick-shotting community starting to come back a little bit. I mean, that's amazing. The sniping community, and that is amazing. That is great. So where are we headed? That's what happened to Call of Duty. Call of Duty went through the greatest stretch to the Dark Ages, which was a very difficult stretch for them, and now they're back. The kings of console esports, the kings of just, net sales every single year, number 1 best-selling game every year. Call of Duty is still to this day, even through the Dark Ages, even through all of it, is one of my favorite titles. It's still in the big 3. It's been in the big 3, even through the Dark Ages. I said, look, this is still one of the best franchises. And I know a lot of people who left Call of Duty. My brother was really big into Call of Duty, and then he left when it started, with Black Ops 3 and Infinite Warfare, completely different from the community. And now those people talk mad trash about Call of Duty. I will call a spade and say if I think something isn't working or isn't good, or in my opinion, which Call of Duty had that bad stretch, but Call of Duty is still one of the best franchises ever. Not only because of the games in general that they're making, but because of how good the games are for how much time the developers have to make them. They have a new game every single year. And just the fan base so passionate about Call of Duty. And that is unbelievable. It's a great, beautiful thing. And Call of Duty has gone through some patches here and there, right? Couple of years there, one bad title there, or whatever the case might be. But Call of Duty is still one of the top games in all of gaming, history, right? And it probably always will be for me. But that's what happened, guys. Let me know what you all think about the history of Call of Duty. Which title was your favorite? What did you think about the Jetpack era? There's talk of people wanting to go back to the Jetpack era, or I guess you could say bringing jetpacks back into Call of Duty. What do you guys think about that? I've made videos on that in the past, how I don't think that we should be doing that, especially with the direction we're going in right now, kind of getting back away from the Dark Ages. But what do you guys think about it? Let me know in the comment section below.